Alrighty, good morning everybody. It is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. I'm going to jump into things, but first I do want to bring up that tomorrow will be my webinar with Ninja Trader. Tomorrow, March 21st, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. You can register. I'm not sure how, I guess I'll try and share this link on the YouTube video as well. So if you are watching this pre-market review, you can click on the link at the bottom, register to attend, and join me for an hour. There will be some special offers and some good information on how I map out my charts every morning. So hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the review for yesterday. Remember what we said yesterday. We had a whole bunch of bearish clues from the highs. It gave us some clues for an expected continuation to the downside. However, and there's a big however there, however, the bears seem to jump, or the bulls seem to jump back in on every attempt by the bears to pull the market back. So same situation yesterday. We had no clue how far the bears were going to get, but our first line in the sand for our bullish bearish bias right on our report, we said if bulls can get back through 50% of the previous day, that would be our first check mark, our first clue that we were potentially going to just have the bulls jump back in and rip this all the way back to the highs of the chop range that we've been in for quite some time now. So if you come to the higher time frames and look at where we are in the grand scheme of things, we've been chopping back and forth in a tight range for 2 or 3 weeks now. I mean, it's not necessarily a tight range. It's got some decent coverage here, right? We have all the way from 52.60 to about 51.60 here, but been getting tighter and tighter. In fact, it does almost look, now that I look at it right now, like we're starting to get into somewhat of one of these triangles or pendants. But it's getting super choppy in here, and every time we get bearish clues from the highs, we expect a pullback. However, we also expect the bulls to jump back in, and as you can see, very aggressive rotations back to the upside every time the bears tried to pull the market back. And every time we got multiple time frame bearish signals, we did get some follow through, but then again it was short lived and the bulls have been popping it. So coming into yesterday, we said if the bears can hold below 50% of the previous day, then maybe we could expect a retest of the previous daily low, come back to 51.70, etc., etc. But if the bulls can push things back above 50%, then we were expecting a possible retest of the highs of this whole chop block that we're in, or balance zone, or whatever you want to call it. So market open here, and just so happened that the market opened right as we were testing 50% of the previous week. So you did have a bearish trade right out of the open, a pretty decent opportunity there to get short, but it didn't really go anywhere, right? They came down, they tried to hold below VWAP, and then it just kind of chopped back and forth for about the first hour of the market until we finally got the break back above 50% of the previous week. And you can see how important that level is to the tick in many instances. We hold all night from above that area, we hold nearly to the tick coming out of the open, and then finally when we start to break out to the upside, we step and we literally hold it here to the tick on that test for the push all the way up to the highs of the day. So once we got the bullish follow through here, we got one of our typical stair step situations. The market just stair stepped up. It pulled back to VWAP, got through 50% of the previous week, that critical level, pulled back and held that to the tick. And then we got up and noticed we had trouble right off the holy orange power level here, and it pulled back just not enough to get back down through the 200 or through the 50% level. And then we came up, got through the previous daily close, pulled back and held that one for a couple of tests. Then there's that beautiful double bottom, and then we start to stair step up and hold the fast moving average, and quite literally held nearly every level to the upside. So then we got the pullback, we held the 200 here, nice double test there of the 200 for a good long opportunity again, and then we eventually make it all the way back up. It did kind of peter out, interestingly enough, right at 52.33 here. That was kind of bifurcating this whole chop range in here, and then finally stair stepped up, and at the end of the day finally got through the high of the day before, pulled back, and then held that to try and bounce at the end of the day. So if you zoom out and look, it was quite literally just a stair step up 50%. Actually, VWAP 50%. Previous daily close 52.33 didn't quite work out in this instance. Held 200 moving average, and then finally at the end of the day tried to hold off the previous daily high. So pretty good price action if you ask me. Maybe some situations in here, like once we got to this 33 area where it got a little choppy, but still some beautiful opportunities right off the 200 moving average for some nice parries back up, and a great short opportunity out of the open here if you did get short off the 50% level. But again, after an hour of this chop, we started to get that check mark for the bulls when price held again to the tick above it, and then we started to trend higher there. So you did have great opportunities to buy the previous daily close to the upside, buy the fast moving average to the upside, or buy the 200 to the upside. Again, hopefully taking profit right around the high of the day before there, and then that was it. And if you tried to buy at the end of the day off the previous daily high, you got just a little bit of a scalp trade. So that brings us here into the overnight session. The market came down and interestingly enough bounced to the tick. There's 52.33. A little bit irrelevant yesterday because it was kind of chopping around in that area. But then finally, and you even see it at the end of this chop, comes right to it, and that launches us up to the high of the day. And then finally in the overnight session we come back and to the tick hold 52.33 there for this pop to retest the high of the day before. So this is where we stand right now. The market made it all the way back to the top of the range, right? That big chop block we saw on the 60-minute chart at the beginning of the broadcast. Got all the way back to the top here, and we're almost back to the all-time high, which is right up here, right off of our next expected resistance level, is right where the all-time high is. And now they're pulling back again, right back into the chop block. So that brings us to our pre-market for the morning. Let's go ahead and jump up to these higher time frames and see what they have to say.